Hello, my name is John, and today we'll be reading The New Old Politics of the Capital versus Countryside by Michael Barone on Townhall, posted April 28th, 2017. Michael Barone is a senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner and resident fellow at American Enterprise Institute. Capital versus countryside. That's the new political divide, visible in multiple surprise election results over the past 11 months. It cuts across old partisan lines and replaces traditional divisions, labor versus management, North versus South, Catholic versus Protestant among voters. This was apparent last June in Britain's referendum on whether to leave the European Union. London voted 60% to remain, while the rest of England, whether Labour or Conservative, voted 57% to leave. It was plain in Colombia's October referendum on a peace settlement with the FARC guerrillas. Bogota voted 56% C, the heartland provinces 58% no. In both countries, the ethnic and geographic fringe, Scotland and Northern Ireland, the Caribbean provinces, voted with the capital, but in each case the historic heartland, with the majority of voters, produced a surprise defeat for the capital establishment. There was a similar story here in November. Coastal America, the Northeast minus Pennsylvania, the Pacific states minus Alaska favored Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump by 58 to 35% margin. But the geographic heartland, casting 69% of the nation's votes, favored Trump by a 51 to 43% margin. The contrast is even starker if you separate out the establishment metro areas, New York, Washington, Los Angeles, San Francisco, that produces most Democratic big dollar funding. They voted 65 to 29% for Clinton. The rest of the country they feel entitled to rule voted 49 to 45% for Trump. And on April 23rd, France voted in a presidential race that scrambled the usual party divisions. Marine Le Pen, shunned by the Paris establishment as a neo-fascist, finished fourth with 11% of the vote in Metro Paris, and third with 15% in 13 other prosperous cities. But she ran first in La France Profonde with 24%. She'll almost certainly lose the May 7th runoff, but she has already topped her National Front's previous high of 17%. Is there any precedent for this? The Economist columnist Adrian Wooldridge spots one in the 17th century. He quotes historian Hugh Trevor Roper's description of the general crisis of 1620 to 1660 as a revolt of the Providence not only against a growing parasitic Stuart court, but also against the growing city of London, against the centralized church, and against the expensive monopoly of higher education by the two great universities. The capital versus the countryside, in other words, much like today. The countryside party, Trevor Roper writes, vied to pare down the parasitic fringe of central government and sought to protect industry, rationalize finance, and reduce the hatcheries which turned out the superfluous bureaucrats. Similar impulses are apparent in Britain, France, and America today. In different ways, Brexit, Le Pen and Trump seek to counter the university-trained bureaucratic, financial and cultural elites in London, Paris, and New York, D.C., Los Angeles, and San Francisco. They resent overlarge and undercompetent bureaucracies and public employee unions, the paymasters of the Labor and Democratic parties. With blunt, often ill-advised rhetoric, they challenge the pieties of the universities as 17th century countryside parliamentarians challenged the established church and universities. Consider the debate over what has become for many the religion of global warming. Those with doubts that predicted harm will occur are labeled deniers, heretics who must be punished. The science is settled, the elites insist. That's exactly what the church told Galileo. Or consider the speech codes promulgated by most colleges and universities. We see violent disruption of speakers on campus go unpunished and even praised. We see the New York Times publish an article by a New York University dean arguing for restricting free speech. We see the deadweight cost of public employee union pensions and unpoliced murders destroying one of the great creations of civilization, Chicago. No wonder the countryside resists. This is how these arrogant bullies govern the precincts of society they control. In this struggle, the capital has certain advantages. Huge supermajorities in its strongholds, inhabited largely by elites and ethnic, racial, and religious minorities. It monopolizes most established media. It claims that opponents are bigots. Its claims that opponents are bigots are taken as gospel. The countryside has serious grievances and majority numbers, but doesn't always find steady leadership. Le Pen's insalubrious pedigree suggests she'll lose May 7th, though Theresa May's icy steeliness has British Conservatives headed to a landslide win June 8th. Donald Trump instinctively reckoned that the countryside was the key to victory. Now he has to deliver. The battles of capital versus countryside will go on. This video is a production of the School of the White Crane. My name is John Brooker, and you can reach me through commentary on this YouTube video or through my Gmail listed here. Please share this video with friends and family and on social media. May God richly bless you.